Good morning. Top of the mid morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, sir. Come on in here, man. Feel a little bit better, man. Come on in here, man. Look at this. Look at the nappy head, man. The nappy head looking good, man. Looking good. Feeling good. Taco Macho Wacho Tuesday, man. Come on in here. Who's gonna be first in the chat? Get shouted out, man. First in the chat, get shouted out on the hottest podcast in the land, the hottest show on YouTube, the hottest morning show ever to do it. Ozzy Kazi in the building with the rich of destruction. Trolls beware. Relax and talk sports, man. Trump news, Trump news, Trump news. Giving Democrats the boo blues. Giving Democrats the boo boo. And all we do is win every day. It ain't even Wednesday. I wake up winning. We go to sleep winning. We win. Yeah, we do a backflip, we do a somersault, do a split, and do a banana dip, and we win and win and win. All we do is win. I can't stand it, Momo. I know they can't stand it, man. The Democrats got to be crying boo-hoo every day because at every lower court, upper court, Supreme Court, what's today? Scotus with the Mostus. Scotus with the most. Oh man, come on, man. How many victories? It's so many victories. They starting to think that Trump has something going on with the Supreme Court. They calling it Trump Supreme Court. It should be Trump Supreme Court because he's the president of the United States. Thank you everybody for tuning in and watching. Double tap, hit the like button as you come on in. Let's get the show started. Back at it like a crack at it. Automatic like a Fomatic, built from tragedy, made for static. It's your boy, Perfect Time Podcast, back with the blast, in and out with a dash. 2025 won't last, so we're going to get this done real fast. And I'm telling you, man, 2025 been a hell of a year. Who been with us on this ride? Ozzy been here, Relax and Take Sports been here. It's been a ride. Man, I want to thank everybody for the likes, the share, the subscribe, members off top of members, people double tapping, people liking, people rolling in, people tapping in. I mean, we've been riding it, and I feel it shifting. And I said in the beginning of 2025, 2024 was such a powerful year. One of the stories we're going to talk about today is Joe Biden's administration's lying about their job numbers. And when we've been having a talk about the tariffs. We've been having a talk about trade. I watched the interview. I was up this morning doing research at 6 this morning. I saw Trump talking about the potential for the Supreme Court. I don't think it's going to happen because we see how the Supreme Court has been deciding with Trump on everything. But there's potential for the Supreme Court to go a different way on the tariffs. He said that we'd have to give back trillions of dollars. He mentioned in the meeting today because people didn't understand the tariffs. I've been explaining. Can we get? We're going to have an honest talk this morning. We've been having a talk about tariffs and trade and how tariffs and trade, when used properly and improperly, have been a detriment to the American worker, stagnated going back to 96 when Nancy Pelosi first said it. But when used properly, they can encourage building and increase wages. I just saw a commercial this morning, and you may have saw it too. I've been using McDonald's as an anecdotal argument for tariffs. Did you see the commercial this morning? Extra value meals are back. Remember what we said? Extra value meals are back. We're going to go into that. But today, Trump was talking about the tariffs and trade. And he gave an example to what we've been arguing about here. Number one, he said, we presented last week, there's a blue collar boom because the plants are being built here now. So blue collar boom, meaning that construction, because Trump announced that more and more car plants are building here. They're coming from Mexico. They're coming from Canada. They're coming from China. Yeah, cars are going to be built in America again. That means American, and these are high-paying jobs that are coming to America by the thousands. You may say, well, why would companies want to build build here? Why are companies so excited to build here? And what does it have to do with trade and tariff? See, that's why I got Ozzy Kazi in the chat. That's why I got him with the Richard Destruction. Because the trolls don't do the math. The trolls don't read. The trolls don't research. The trolls don't love America in the same way we love America. But see, we understand what MAGA is about, making America great again, and that Trump would never do something to hurt you, because that's what the Democrats been doing for the past 15 years. Trump talked about trade and tariff the same way we've been talking about trade and tariff on this channel. He gave a beautiful example of what has been happening before the Trump administration. He talked about India. There was a question that said, India tariffs are very high. Are you going to lower the India tariff? He said, no, but we have a great relationship with India. But let me give you an example of how tariff and trade works. He said, before my administration, there's a company in America called Harley Davidson. Now, we talked here. I educated my audience that it was not just about tariffs. It was a trade deficit, that we're in a trade deficit, and it was detrimental to the American worker, stagnating American wages because no companies were being built here. But it also affected how American companies couldn't grow, couldn't make more money, couldn't hire more employees, and couldn't pay more wages. Why? Because American companies like Harley Davidson were crippled by tariffs and trade. Y'all want to hear a true story? Thank you to the president, one of the greatest presidents we've ever had, Donald Trump. Donald Trump gave an anecdotal story, just like I use McDonald's. Donald Trump used Harley Davidson, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a great American company, just like Levi's, just like Polo Ralph Lauren. Well, Harley Davidson could not sell motorcycles in India. Why? Well, you know, India is popular for motorcycles. It's such a large country, billions of people. You don't have a lot of roads, small cars, and a lot of motorcycles. So they didn't want American motorcycles to compete with the Indian companies. So Harley Davidson had a 200% tariff on motorcycles in India, meaning that basically they couldn't afford to sell bikes in India. So you know what Harley Davidson did? Is everybody listening? Thank you. Good morning. Hit the like button as you come in. We're going to have a great talk this morning. Double tap, hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you don't know how to like the video, there's 3 ellipses in the top right-hand corner. Hit those 3 ellipses. It'll give you options. You can like the video. We're going to have a great conversation. This is the best chat. This is the best YouTube channel. This is the best conversation on YouTube every morning. So Harley Davidson couldn't sell bikes in India because there were a 200% tariff. Have you heard in any of the trade talks that I have presented, when we had a summit with Japan, when we had a summit with Korea, when we had a summit with China, did you hear any tariffs that were 200%? Did you hear Trump impose any tariffs at the same level that American companies have had to see? See, the people, I think Americans have become cowards. Americans have become cowards and weak because you don't want to sacrifice anything for your country. It's all selfish. When you hear an American say, oh, the tariff is a tax, that's a coward. That's not a strong American citizen who's willing to fight for his country. That person is selfish. All that person cares about is its own self. Oh, the tariff is a tax. They don't understand how tariffs and trade have destroyed American companies, American workers, and American wages. That's why MAGA is here. That's why MAGA is here. Make America great again. Harley Davidson could not sell motorcycles in India. This is just an anecdotal example, but there are many examples like this. Many American companies who faced similar problems with selling their goods abroad. No, it's not just about the tariff. It's not just about the tariff. It's about trade. It's about the quality of life of Americans, and no one has been listening. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. We need more likes on the double tap, hit the like button. So in Harley Davidson faced a 200% tariff, making it basically not profitable to sell Harley Davidsons in India, but they want to sell bikes to India because India is a bike economy. India buys bikes like Japan and China because of the size and the population. You know what Harley Davidson had to do to avoid tariffs? Harley Davidson built a plant in India. That means Indian workers were trained on an American bike. This was invented in America. That means one day India will go ahead and make a Harley Davidson because Harley Davidson had to build a plant in India and train Indian workers how to build their proprietary Harley Davidson motorcycles because they wanted to avoid the tariffs. So the only way to sell Harley Davidsons in India at a profit was to invest in India. Is this microphone on? Are you listening to what is actually happening in America? Because the Democrats hate you. The Democrats lied to you. The Democrats propagandize and don't give you the honest truth. This is a great example of what is happening with the tariff and the trade deficit and why Trump is the greatest president for America and for American workers. India ended up getting a benefit. They had a 200% tariff on American motorcycles. So if you want to sell your motorcycles here, you have to employ Indian workers. So not only did India get Harley Davidson, but India got investments from an American company, a multi-million-dollar plant, jobs. What about if America did the same thing? How about America understand how trade works? Because we have it. America hasn't cared. The Democrats, Obama in office 8 years, Biden in office 12 years. The Democrats haven't cared about trade in the same way that India cared about its people. India got more jobs. India got an investment. India has Harley Davidson motorcycles. What about America? How about America do what India did? Put tariffs on other countries who want to sell. See what we did. And at the same time that Harley Davidson couldn't sell in India, India was able to dump everything. India had a 0 to 2% tariff. Remember, I exposed the truth. Japan, 0, 2% tariff. Europe, 0, 2% tariff. Everybody basically to get Walmart $5 Black Friday, all these foreign goods had a 0 to no percent tariffs. There was no American people couldn't compete. Excuse me. American companies couldn't compete. How can you compete against foreign goods that don't have to pay any tariffs? They don't even pay their workers. Imagine being an American company who made a blender, who made an iron. Walmart sells it for $5 an hour. You have to compete against a Chinese company that only has to pay 10 cents because it's a communist company. Why were American companies competing against communists? Communists don't have minimum wage. Communists don't got to pay it's all the collective. It's not a fair competition because American companies have to pay a living wage. Communist companies don't. They have people jumping out of the window. Double tap, hit the like button. You remember the stories about the Chinese factory workers who were jumping out the window because of poor conditions and poor wages? How could an American company make a cell phone? Name an American company that can compete against a Chinese company making a cell phone when they got to pay their workers 10 cents an hour and they got to put nets outside the window because people keep jumping out the window. How can an American company compete against that? The only way you compete against that is you put tariffs and trade and you understand the trade deficit and you start to say, well, China, we're not going to allow you to sell your cell phones in America. 200% tariff on the Chinese cell phone. So China would be like, Harley Davidson, I want to sell cell phones in America because cell phones in America are every day. Americans don't even go to the bathroom without their cell phone. So it would behoove me as a Chinese cell phone company to build a plant in America. And guess what's happening? Guess what's happening? Guess what's happening? Guess what's happening? LOL, you're in the cult. Well, the problem is a lot of the trolls and Democrats, and we saw this with Amanda Seals. I don't have to call you names. We don't have to get upset because we have anecdotal evidence. We saw the debate with Amanda Seals. We saw the debate with the Young Turks. That was Democrat versus Democrat. Did anybody wonder why we're having Democrat versus Democrat 20v1s? If the Democratic Party has a clear message, if the Democratic Party has a clear leader, why is there a need and why was it so popular? Can we be honest? I know you like to troll. I know you like to get upset, but there are some truths that you cannot hide from that I did not create. There are realities that we all must live in, that that I did not create. Why did Amanda Seals have a 20v1 Democrat versus Democrat? Did you know there were there were fractions of the Democratic Party? Amanda Seals says she's a radical but Democrat. You have libertarian but Democrat. The Young Turks said he's a populist Democrat, and he had a very hard time explaining his populist argument to a room full of Democrats when everybody was a Democrat. Can you answer me that as you troll and you don't have real facts? See, these are realities that you can't hide from. The vote that happened today, you want to live in a fantasy world, but the Supreme Court, who is the law of the land, we live by a Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The Supreme Court voted with Trump. Can we get an amen? Can we get a hoorah? Can we get a just win, win, win? Can we get some Trump hands? Can we get some Trump hands? Can we get some likes? Can we get some double taps? Can we get some likes? The Supreme Court just sided with Trump because everybody thinking that we're not coming to Chicago. The name is Midway Blitz. It's called Operation Midway Blitz. We on our way. It's called Operation Midway Blitz. We in LA. Now, right before, look at that beautiful emoji. Look at that Donald Trump happy. You want to look like Real Talk Sports? Join the channel with that $2 holla. Perfect timing podcast with the blast. The hottest show in the land. The hottest chat in the land. Let's just be honest, baby. The Midway Blitz on its way to Chicago right now. The Supreme Court just voted for Donald Trump to initiate a certain level of ICE raids. This is being turned up. We are not turned down. Can you just be honest? We are turned up. MAGA is turned up. MAGA is fired up, ready to go, turned up and winning. Whether you like it or not, MAGA is turned up. We in LA. We in DC. We in Chicago. Love it or like it or leave it. Love it or like it or leave it. Leave it or love it. America the great. America the red, white, and blue. Hit the like button. I need 100 likes. I need 100 likes 5 minutes ago. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Hit the super chat. Hit the cash app. $ Big D Rants. We going in this morning. Let's go back to trade. We're going to get to the win. We're going to get to Scotus with the Mostus. We're going to get to the Midway Blitz. I got something I want to read. Let's talk about trade because I don't think there's a lot of people who troll. Rebecca said hi. So let's talk about Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson, an American company, could not sell motorcycles in India because they faced a 200% tariff. I've never heard of America imposing a 200% tariff. The highest I've heard of is 50%. So Harley Davidson, in order to sell motorcycles in India, had to build a motorcycle plant in India. Donald Trump announced this morning and last week that there is a blue collar boom because countries do not want to pay higher tariffs. So a lot of them agree with you. They don't want to pay higher tariffs. The tariffs will not equal tax for you, but it does make it not profitable to sell their goods in America. So how do companies get around Donald Trump tariffs and how do they become a benefit for the American worker? Well, car companies like in China, Japan, and Canada and Mexico don't want to pay increased tariffs. What are they doing? They are building companies in America. Yes. Did you know that? Donald Trump announced a blue collar boom and everybody's saying, okay, where are the blue collar jobs coming from? The blue collar jobs are coming from the building of new factories and plants from overseas companies who don't want to pay increased tariffs. To avoid the tariff burden, we are having a blue collar boom. And I'm talking about high paying blue collar jobs, high HVAC, not HVAC, plumbing, construction, high paying. To have these semiconductor plants, the future is semiconductors and supercomputers, quantum computers. To make the microchips, you have to have a lab environment. So HVAC, you heard a lot about HVAC, air conditioning, pipe fitters. We have a shortage of carpenters, but in these lab environments to build these next generation supercomputer microchips, you need HVAC. It is very important that there is no air, there is no lint, it's a lab environment, white gloves, white coats. To get the environment to build these microchips, the most important worker is the HVAC employee. So when they told you in high school, everybody doesn't have to go to college. You can make a lot of money as an HVAC tech, as a pipe fitter, building the new plants of the future for Web 3.0, for cryptocurrency, for data mining crypto. When you hear about HBAR, when you hear about a lot of this crypto, the software behind crypto, what it takes to fuel what, somebody help me out with the terminal. I'm an old guy in the chat. The blockchain, what it takes to feed the blockchain. This is the future. This is digital currency, blockchain, Web 3.0, supercomputer. Shout out to the Family Guy. I'll be right back. Order and P. Shout out to the Family Guy for the $2 super chat. So in order to build these next generation plants, you need HVAC. So there is a blue collar boom in America. We got more jobs. We got lower prices at the pump, lower prices at the grocery store. McDonald's just announced an extra value meal. The extra value meal is back at McDonald's. Who talked about McDonald's as an anecdotal example of trade and tariffs and how tariffs will not be a tax to you? And I told you about the MAGA dollar, how strong the MAGA dollar is. We need 100 likes. Double tap, hit the likes. We need 100 likes. So I talked to you about McDonald's having a $5 mini meal. McDonald's said it was temporary. Trump came out with tariffs. Did you know the tariffs? We started collecting tariffs on August 1st. A lot of people in the chat want to troll, but they lack facts and information. But if you're Ozzy Kazi, if you relax and take sports, if you're Dwayne the Gray, if you're a member of the channel, then you know about some facts. You know when the tariffs, when we start actually collecting dollars. You know how the trade deficit works. So we started collecting revenue August 1st. We've already collected trillions of dollars. It's already benefiting America. We're already winning. So every day we're making money. Every day America, who was losing money. How long in your life? I'm 55,000 years old. How many years in your life have you heard about America spending money, growing the deficit, wasting money, losing money? When the last time you heard about America actually making a profit? When the last time you heard about America being profitable, American cities being able to pay their bills, American states being able to fund their services? When the last time you heard about that? I don't want Chicago $1 billion in debt. See, I don't want Washington, D.C. not able to pay overtime for police so single parent product kids run around the streets and cause crime and violence, because we don't have enough tax base. See, because American cities are broke. Did you know American cities are broke? Los Angeles has a deficit. San Francisco has a deficit. Most major democratic American cities are operating at a deficit. That's why the crime is running rampant, because they can't afford to pay police. Remember, defund the police? Well, you affected that. Defund the police actually worked, because you know what democratic councils, aldermen, and city councils did? They defunded the police, and now they don't have enough money to pay officers. And now Chicago is asking for money. LA is asking for money. Why do you want money? LA, Chicago, you want money? You just said defund the police. I'm confused. Anybody in the chat understand what's going on? I am thoroughly confused. Chicago is $1 billion in debt. They need money from the federal government, but you said defund the police. Defund the police denotes to me that you don't need money. Defund the police saying you don't need money. You're saying you need less funds. Chicago, LA, Seattle, your Democratic enclaves, you said defund the police. That means less money. Now you want to come back to Trump's federal government and say, I'm $1 billion short. I can't pay overtime. I need more police on the street. Don't send the National Guard. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. I want some money. Ain't it something? You want welfare. You want sanctuary city. Yesterday we defined sanctuary city. Sanctuary. We have an immigrant sanctuary. Maybe all your money went to the sanctuary policies. Anybody know what a sanctuary city is? We read it yesterday on your podcast. I promise you, they're not giving you this level of education. I promise you, you're not getting entertained. You're not getting educated. You've heard sanctuary city, but you don't know what it is. Well, we read it here. My audience, put it in the chat. What's a sanctuary city? Sanctuary city is counter federal law. Didn't somebody say that yesterday? I'm not gaslighting. Define sanctuary city. Mommy the baddest, define sanctuary city so we can tell people if I'm gaslighting. Because yesterday, sanctuary city was defined on my platform. Do you have a platform? And we defined sanctuary city. We were all surprised. We were taken back on how bold democratic cities and states are going against the federal government, against federal law, against the Constitution. A sanctuary city says that it will go against the federal government to protect immigrants. It says that. Look it up. You can Google it right now. A sanctuary city says that the Democratic leadership will not uphold federal laws, will go against the federal government in an effort to protect immigrants, not citizens. This is so important. This is so powerful. Lazy Bones Outdoors back in the building. This is so important. This is the sanctuary city. I know you mad because you didn't know. No one's ever told you. The liberal media doesn't break down the definition of a sanctuary city. So when we read it, when MAGA reads this, MAGA is asking, what's the constitutional basis? Ozzy Kazi said, what's the federal basis? Where is this based in federal law? Like MAGA wants to know. MAGA wants to know who voted for it. MAGA wants to know who gave approval for sanctuary city and sanctuary policies that were contradictory to the federal law and Constitution. Who voted for that? Did you vote for that? Is it legal to even vote for it? Is it legal or even possible or even plausible to vote against the Constitution, to go against federal? Who created this socialist, communist dynamic in this modern day and age of American politics? Do you guys remember? They said they were trained Marxists. They said they were trained Marxists, and then they roll out these policies that are anti-American, anti-constitutional, anti-federal government, and you wonder how and why they're trained Marxists. And we just sat there. We sat there and listened to them say they're trained Marxists as if that was plausible, as if it was legal, as if it was acceptable. Are you surprised with Chicago? I'm not surprised. Are you surprised with Los Angeles? I'm not surprised. When I read the definition of sanctuary city, then I understand why they went against ICE. Now I understand why the Supreme Court had to rule in favor of the president. Because if the Supreme Court, everybody's saying this morning, the Supreme Court is not with you. If the Supreme Court doesn't rule with the president, then the Supreme Court is ruling with sanctuary cities. And if you rule with sanctuary cities, you are ruling against the Constitution. They had to rule with the president because sanctuary cities are not constitutional. The Supreme Court cannot support democratic Marxist policy and rule in American cities. Is this thing on? Who went to high school? Who reads a book? Who went to high school? Who reads a book? What did you expect the Supreme Court to say? They can't hold up sanctuary city policies. It would be anti to what they're there to do. Who went to high school? How can sanctuary cities need to be struck down? That's why the Supreme Court exists. You can't have policies within the policy that says that we are going to go against the federal government, go to the Supreme Court and expect the Supreme Court to uphold a policy that is anti-constitutional. Throw that out of here. Throw the whole policy away. Throw the whole policy away. You can't have a sanctuary city. There is no such thing. That's why, you know what else was funny about the sanctuary city definition? In the definition, it says there is no legal definition of sanctuary city. Well, you know what? We laughed. We had a good laugh about that. We had a good, the MAGA, we had a good laugh about the fact there is no legal definition for sanctuary city. And we laugh because we figured it out very quickly because we know how to read, we know comprehension, just low level a bit of literacy, you could read through that. Well, we said very quickly, if there is no legal definition, because there is no legal basis, because it's illegal, it's not legal. See how easy that is? See how easy the Supreme Court's job was this morning? Within the definition of sanctuary city, it says there is no legal definition because there is no legal basis because sanctuary cities are illegal. It was easy for the Supreme Court this morning. All we do is win. Can we get win, win, win in the chat? All we do is win. There is no legal basis. There is no legal definition. How can you have a legal definition for something that is illegal? This is elementary, dear Watson. I know I'm a great podcaster. I have a great mind, but this is elementary. This is not complex. This is elementary. There is no legal definition for sanctuary cities because there is no legal basis because it is illegal. It was easy for Scotus to side with Trump. It was easy for Scotus to say ICE. Think of how stupid, think of how idiotic some people are. ICE is not Blackwater. ICE is not, that's right, Lazy Bone Outdoors. All we do is win. Hit the like button. We need 100 likes 5 minutes ago. They are talking about ICE in the National Guard like they are some foreign entity. The president doesn't need permission. ICE is ICE. It's so idiotic. Democrats, you're so idiots. ICE is ICE, you idiot. What does ICE need permission for when ICE is ICE? I mean, it's stupid beyond stupid. ICE was created to go after, it's in the name. That's what it is. That's what ICE is. Hello? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. We don't have to go to Supreme Court. Sanctuary cities are illegal and ICE already has a legal mandate. Is this thing on? I said sanctuary cities don't have legal basis and ICE already exist. ICE has a legal mandate. ICE was created by the Homeland Security and has a legal mandate to go after people who should not be here and people who are here illegally. That's their job. Isn't that dumb? Are you, like the young people say, are you dumb? ICE doesn't need permission to do its job simply because it's a sanctuary city. We don't care it's a sanctuary city. ICE is the only one who has the actual legal basis to do what it's doing. The Democratic mayor and governor in the sanctuary city has no legal ground to stand on. It was easy. It was easy. There is no legal definition. Imagine a Democratic mayor going to the Supreme Court. Well, Mayor, Trump is in my city and we're a sanctuary city. The Supreme Court is like, what is a sanctuary? Get out of here. Get him out of here. Forget about it. Get him out of here. We don't care. We don't care. Well, the president can't come in here with ICE. What is ICE? What is ICE? What is LA? Everybody know LA has a problem with cartels and immigrant. Everybody know LA is a hot spot. It makes sense. It's on the border. It makes sense that ICE, hold on. What does ICE mean? Come on, let's define. We did sanctuary city. So let's tell people ICE enforcement. Okay. U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement. That's their job. Isn't it odd? And we all know LA has a problem with this. It behooves ICE. ICE is an acronym for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you just thought it was ICE. Yeah, it's water 32. It makes more sense. It makes more sense. That's why they're confused. That's why they thought the Supreme Court could stop them. How can the Supreme Court stop them from doing their government mandated approved assignment? They were created. Remember, we created ICE. We already had see, this is the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to go to Congress, correct? This is how ICE was created. We got permission, we got the money, we got allocation, and we have approval from Congress. ICE has a legal congressional mandate, and it also has a budget. Hello, where are Democrats getting the money to fund these sanctuary cities? I think that's why you voted for Trump. Where are Democrats getting the money to fund these sanctuary cities? Remember Doge? Remember millions of dollars going to hotels in Chicago and New York to house immigrants in a hotel that you never lived in, a hotel you could never afford to be in? Where the Democrat cities who are billions of dollars in debt now get the money to pay for sanctuary city policies? ICE is approved. ICE is approved by the Congress. ICE has a budget and a mandate. But the Democrats didn't go to Congress. They talk a lot about democracy. The Democrats didn't go to Congress and gain. The Democrats didn't even go to you, the citizens of the Democratic cities and states, and ask you, would you be willing to give up your tax dollars for immigrants? Did the Democrats' leadership in Chicago, LA, Illinois, and California, and New York, did your Democratic leadership put on the ballot and allow you to make your own decision like an American citizen, because it's a free country, you're supposed to be able to vote? Did the Democrat leadership put on the ballot, do you want this to be a sanctuary city where your tax dollars, and we use the tax base to help immigrants break the law and go against federal legal requirements? We're going to use tax dollars to protect immigrants from the federal law. We're going to help immigrants break the law, and we're going to use your money to do it. Did they let you vote on that? I'm asking a real question. Did the Democrats ever put sanctuary cities on any ballot? No, because if they did, then we would have a legal definition, because it would not be on the ballot. We would have a legal definition of sanctuary city. And if it got approved and voted for by citizens, then the sanctuary city would have a legal founding, and today's ruling may have went differently. But see, the Democrats did not use democracy. So if the Democrats didn't have the legal power to institute, because everybody today is mad at Trump. Hey, Trump doesn't have the legal power to go into Chicago. Trump doesn't have, so we went to Supreme Court, we won. Now, the Democrats, but no one is asking, did the Democrats have the legal authority to institute sanctuary city policies that are anti-constitutional, anti-federal government, and have they been called to task at the Supreme Court and made to relinquish and give up these sanctuary cities? That hasn't happened, but I'm going to say to Trump, because I know a lot of people watch my show. Trump, that's the next lawsuit. We need to take Chicago, LA, sanctuary cities, sanctuary states to the Supreme Court and make them drop this anti-constitutional, anti-American farce. It is a farce. It is illegal. It has no legal definition. It has no legal standing. It is anti-American citizen. When you take my tax dollars, because that's what no one ever asked, who's paying for the hotels. We're very happy the Doge and Trump, first 30 days, they stopped payment to those hotels. Do y'all remember that? Shout out to Doge. First 30 days, they stopped payment to those hotels. Remember that? Y'all don't remember that because y'all don't remember the border czar. Y'all remember the border czar who fell out of a coconut tree? Do y'all remember the border czar who fell out of a coconut tree? Do you remember all the money spent? And then when it came time to be president, nobody remembers anything. Nobody remembered who the border czar was. Nobody remembered how much money you guys have spent on hotels. Nobody remembered how much money you guys spent on food stamps. We heard rumors of $15,000 food stamp packages. How much money did the Democrats spend? How much border czar? How much? We never found out. We don't know. Thank you, Doge. And then people say, we don't need Doge. Why we don't need Doge? I think we needed Doge because they never told. Why did we need Doge? Because they never told. They never told, so we got Doge. How much on hotels? How much on food stamps? How much? How much? How much? But it's not just hotels and food stamps. How much did you have to pay police? How much overtime did this sanctuary city bankrupt America? Because the police stopped policing citizens, the police stopped policing crime, and the police had to protect immigrants. Do you guys remember? I remember the police were upset. The police said we have such a large influx coming into some of our cities that we have to redirect officers to handle because they're all over the sidewalks. We have to get these people housed. We can't just have thousands of people on the street. So police officers became ICE agents. Can we have a real talk this morning? I might be the only one giving you the straight up scoop. Police officers became ICE agents. Do you remember police officers complaining about lack of training when dealing with, they're not trained like ICE to deal with ESL, English second language, ESL, English second language. See, ICE is a specialized entity for a purpose, for a reason, because ICE deals with a specialized population. ICE was designed for a special purpose because ICE deals with a special population and they get a special training that police officers don't require. Police officers are supposed to be protecting me as a citizen, protecting big balls, stopping what was that happening in Chicago. That's the job of the police. Didn't somebody get carjacked? That's why Operation Midway Blitz is in Chicago. We have big balls in DC. See, that's the police job. But when the immigrants overtook these democratic sanctuary enclaves, the police couldn't do policing anymore. So everybody wondering why is ICE why is ICE in these places I just told you why. Because your borders are allow 20 million immigrants to flood American streets, and police officers had to become ICE agents and help police the overpopulation of immigrants in America. You guys forgot? Did you forget where you think they went? Where you think, come on, man, you want to be mad at Trump, but you want to forget about reality. It was only months ago. You know what's so scary about the trolls, lazy bones? You think 20 million people left the country in months? Trump ain't been president 5 minutes. This is what I love about my show. I love about my brain. This is what I love about being MAGA. Because the trolls try so hard, but some mathematical realities just prohibit the nonsensical facts that they come up with. Trump only been here 5 minutes. Trump only been here 5 minutes. Trump only been here 5 minutes. Can we have a real talk this morning? Can we have a real talk this morning? See, this immigration problem did not materialize over 5 minutes. See, I've been saying this. Come on, all of my members, all of my audience, come on, rock with me right now, because we've been talking about this. I said Israel did not materialize over 5 minutes. When did October, the anniversary of the attack on Israel, October 7th is coming up. They having a comedy special. Tim Dillon and a lot of white MAGA comedians are going to Saudi Arabia. October 7th, how long ago was that? Was it 2 years ago? When did that horrific attack happen? God bless those people. God bless those victims. When did the attack, October 2nd, October 7th, excuse me, and God bless the victims and God bless those people. When did it happen? How many years ago? It did not happen 6 months ago. I think that attack was 2 years ago. What did Biden do after the attack? What did Kamala do after the attack? Did he have any peace summits like Trump? Trump has had Benjamin Netanyahu in his White House 3 times, but Trump has only been president since January. It's only September. Can I say that? I'm going to say that again. I said Trump has had Benjamin Netanyahu in the White House 3 times. The Democrats want you to think that's a bad thing. The Democrats want you to think that's a bad thing. I want peace. Trump announced this morning that he's able to broker several peace deals. He ended 7 wars via trade and tariffs. Trump said he ended 7 wars being trade and tariffs. Since day one Trump came into office, he's been attempting to end wars. Trump said, if I go to heaven, it will be because I get peace. Trump said there's a lot of lives being lost in the Ukraine. How long has the Ukraine war been going on? When did the Ukraine conflict start? We talked about 2014 under Obama. We talked about the Azov battalion. A lot of lives lost in the Ukraine. Trump only been president 6 months. How long has the Ukraine conflict been going on? Anybody in the chat? Did you guys put in the chat how long ago the Israel conflict started? How long ago the Ukraine-Russia conflict started? These things did not start in 2025. These things started years ago. How long ago did the immigration border come down and the administration say, stop handing out boots and start handing out bottles? The administration went from handing out boots, ICE could not do their job, and they started handing out bottles of water. Bottles of water. Then we saw Kamala Harris say, don't come. Remember, Kamala Harris said, don't come, but the immigration kept handing out bottles of water. Trump, day one. Trump, day one. Anybody in the chat want to be honest? Trump, day one. No more bottles of water. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer. You take one down and pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. 98 bottles of beer. You take one down and pass it around. 97 bottles of beer on the wall. How many bottles of baby oil on the wall? How many bottles of baby oil on the wall? He said Diddy had 1,000. You take one down and pass it around. 999 bottles of baby oil on the wall. They gave out bottles of water. You might not like me. You might want to troll me, but I promise you, Democrat or Republican, that pissed you off because over 80% of people voted for Trump. I know it pissed you off when you heard about somebody put in the chat $15,000 food stamps, $4,000 cash aid, and you can't buy eggs. You remember eggs were inflation? You remember you couldn't buy eggs. Under Brandon, you couldn't buy eggs. Under Kamala, you couldn't buy eggs. Guess who had the money to buy eggs? Immigrants in these sanctuary cities without legal definition. Today, as we have our talk today, what was the legal definition for the food stamps? What was the legal definition for the hotels? It was not based in legality. That's why you were upset. It's not because you're anti-immigrant. A lot of Americans are immigrants. We're an immigrant country. I love immigrants. We're an immigrant country. We love immigrants, but we love the rule of law because we don't want to be short on resources. So immigrants, citizens, the like was wondering, where is the money coming from? Who is paying for this? Now we see in 2025 the results of sanctuary cities' failure. Can I get this in the chat? I said in 2025, we see the results of sanctuary cities' failure, the illegality, the money wasted and spent. We have Chicago, 70 shootings, double-digit homicide, and $1 billion deficit. This is the result of a sanctuary city. I tell you this, I don't want to live in a sanctuary city. How many in the chat want to live in a sanctuary city plagued with murder, plagued with corruption, and no one being able to tell you where the money came from and where the money is now? Because we need the money now, Chicago. We need the money now, Chicago. We need the money now to pay overtime to police officers. We need more training. We need to hire better police officers. See, that costs money, Chicago. All the money you spend on sanctuary policies. So I know you guys heard about the mayor saying he was $1 billion over budget. I know I'm not just, is that new to anyone in the chat? Is that new to anyone that the Chicago mayor was $1 billion over budget? Is that new to anyone in the chat that Los Angeles is over budget? And is it new to anyone that DC was over budget? Remember, I did the math. I did the math on the ratio of citizens to police officers while people were pissed off. 2.7 million people in Chicago. I said, that's a lot of citizens. 2.7 million people in Chicago. How many officers would you think you would need to protect 2.7? Can anybody make a guess? How many police officers would you need? Because, you want to be safe in America. 2.7 million people. How many police officers would you guess you would need to protect 3 million people? Well, I don't know, but I know they have 11,000 police officers. And I said to myself, this is a problem. This is terrifying. 11,000 police officers for 3 million people. And then you start to understand, like the movies about South Side Chicago and about how after a certain time, you don't really see police officers, how big Chicago is, how sprawling a metropolis Chicago is. And I looked up, on a given night, you got a couple thousand police officers on duty. So wait a minute, because think about it. You can't have all 11,000. All 11,000 are not patrolmen. So all 11,000 are not on the street every night. We can't afford it. It would be beautiful if we could have all 11,000 police officers policing Chicago every night. That's not realistic. I don't know if you understand project management and logistics. That's not how it works. Someone has to sleep. Just if half the people are asleep, think about let's do low-level logistics. Let's do entry-level logistics. Half of the police officers got to sleep. If half of the police officers got to sleep while the other half are at work, how many is that left to police 3 million people? Well, half of 11,000 is 5,000. So At any given time, the maximum you could expect to have on the street is 5,000 people. But I did the math, and they don't have 5,000 officers on a typical night in Chicago. But if they did, it still would leave South Side Chicago basically without any police. South Side Chicago is a 45-mile radius. I grew up in San Francisco. You might ask me, why do I know this about South Side Chicago? I love Chicago. I always study, and San Francisco is like a sister city. And I always knew and understood that San Francisco was a small city. And one of the things I knew about San Francisco and growing up in San Francisco is that, the South Side of Chicago is the same size as my whole city. So that's how big Chicago is. San Francisco could fit in the South Side of Chicago. A lot of people don't know how big Chicago is. So if you a police force in Chicago, how do you manage this sprawling metropolis with such little resources? Do you start to see a picture of the problem in Chicago? How do you police? Now, this is not factoring in the corruption, the ingrained cultural corruption of Chicago. I'm just giving you the logistical problem of policing a city like Chicago. This is devoid of the cultural aspects. Hello, we are having a real... Can we have an honest talk this morning? Can we get my catchphrase in the chat? Can we have an honest talk this morning? Can we get my catchphrase in the chat? Can we have an honest talk this morning? This is devoid of the cultural aspect of Chicago. We're talking about logistics, logistically policing Chicago, logistically policing 2.7 million people, logistically policing something called the South Side of Chicago. Just the logistics, everybody. Then you have to factor in, and I have audience members from Chicago. I have people who are subscribed. Ooh, we are. Ooh, I beat that word up. I have subscribers from Chicago. I have listeners from Chicago. Now, you have a logistic problem of a large metropolis. I called it Gotham. There's a logistic nightmare just being the police officer or police chief. Logistic nightmare. Now, let's factor in, for all of my people from Chicago in the chat, factor in that cultural aspect that if you're not from Chicago, you may not be familiar with. Going back to Al Capone, going back 100 years, the gang culture, the criminal gang corruption that is entrenched in Chicago, not just in inner cities, not just in the South Side, but in aldermen, politicians, people like Barack Obama, people like Jeremiah Wright, Michelle Obama. Can we have an honest talk? What's Barack Obama right-hand man that was the mayor? What was Barack Obama right-hand man that ended up being mayor of Chicago that was no good? And he got a brother that's no good. Chicago historically has a culture, a criminal gang culture that is entrenched in Chicago, much like Los Angeles. And it's not just in Black inner city areas. I'm talking about police. We have corruption going back years with the Chicago PD being reprimanded over and over and over. Corrupt Chicago PD, corrupt Chicago aldermen. Factor in this cultural corruption and gang criminal mentality that exists in Chicago. You factor that with logistics, and then you have a cluster bomb that is like no other. You have a bomb waiting to happen. In holiday weekends, it hits the fan. Now, why does it hit the fan on holiday weekends in Chicago? Think about the logistics. Half of the officers have to be asleep. So you got potential of 5,000 officers. But wait, it's a holiday weekend. Hello? It's a holiday for police too. So logistically, on a holiday weekend in Chicago, it's a logistical nightmare because the police officers take a holiday also. So now you're short. And guess what happens on a holiday weekend? You got police officers on vacation. But what happens on a holiday weekend in Chicago? On a typical night in Chicago, you may have, a couple 100,000 people on the street. So you're policing those couple 100,000 people. A lot of the people are asleep. Everybody's not out at night. People got to go to work. People got to go to school, right? Holiday weekend, summertime holiday weekend, that changes. Everybody is potential. It's like New York. You got 3 million people outside. Parties, fireworks, barbecues, family week, birthdays, Labor Day weekend, 2 to 3 million people, 5,000 cops. But wait, police officers take vacation. Maybe 2,000 police. Maybe. And everybody on the street because it's a holiday weekend. And because I know Americans are like, how is it that 70 shootings? Because like after 20 of shootings, right? right? How do you get 70 shootings? Charles Green said, hi. How do you get 70? I mean, after like 20 or 30 shootings, like, don't the police like narrow it down? I mean, after 20 shootings, don't you like kind of figure out where the shooter's gonna be at?